Let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Have you ever watched someone talk about their stock portfolio or crypto picks while they're quietly sitting on credit card debt, charging over 20% interest? Because that happens constantly and it drives me insane. I'm Jack. I can't stop thinking about money, investing, and why most people seem to sabotage their own path to building wealth. If you actually want to know the right order to invest your money, instead of blindly chasing whatever looks exciting, hit subscribe. And if this video helps you dodge some costly mistakes, give it a thumbs up. People love the exciting side of investing. They want the hot stock, the next ETF, the overnight win. But they ignore the boring stuff that actually determines whether any of that works. It's like trying to fill a bucket with holes in the bottom and then wondering why it never fills up. Here's the reality most people don't want to face. According to the Federal Reserve's latest data, nearly 1 in 3 Americans doesn't have an emergency fund at all. Not a small one, none. And even among people who do have savings, the median emergency fund balance is under $1,000. That's less than a typical car repair, and it's barely enough to cover a single unexpected bill. At the same time, credit card interest rates are now averaging between 22% and 24%, according to the Federal Reserve. Auto loans are pushing 7% to 9%, and mortgage rates are still sitting around 6% to 7%. And somehow, with all of that going on, people still ask whether they should invest in individual stocks or crypto. That's like asking whether you should buy racing tires when your engine is already on fire. There's a very specific order you should be putting your money to work. Get it wrong, and you'll feel behind no matter how much you earn. Get it right, and progress starts to feel almost automatic. Step 1. Emergency fund. The first thing you need isn't an investment account. It's a safety net. I know emergency funds aren't exciting. Nobody clicks on a video titled, "Save Cash and Be Responsible." But this step is what keeps everything else from falling apart. An emergency fund isn't just there for surprise expenses. It's there to stop you from making panic decisions when life inevitably happens. When your car breaks down, when you get a medical bill, or when your income suddenly drops, having cash means you don't swipe a credit card or sell investments at the worst possible moment. It gives you control. And control is what actually builds wealth. Vanguard found that households with just $2,000 in emergency savings had financial well-being scores more than 20% higher than those with no emergency fund. Not because $2,000 changes your life, but because it completely changes how you respond to stress. Most people get overwhelmed when they hear they need months of expenses saved, so think about it in stages. Start with your first $1,000, then work toward 1 month of expenses. Eventually, aim for around 3 months. If your income is unstable, you may need more. If your job is extremely secure, you might be okay with less. Step 2. High-interest debt. Once you've got that buffer in place, the next step is unavoidable. You have to deal with high-interest debt. If you're carrying debt charging 8% or more, especially credit card debt, that needs to be your focus before investing. Credit card rates today are brutal. The Federal Reserve reports averages well above 20%, which means that debt grows faster than almost any investment you could reasonably expect to make. People like to say they'll invest and earn more than that, but mathematically, paying off a 22% interest rate is a guaranteed return. There is no stock market strategy that reliably beats that. For example, $5,000 of credit card debt at 22% can easily cost you nearly $3,000 in interest over time if you're only making minimum payments. That's money that could have been growing for you instead of working against you. Step 3. Employer match. Now here's where things get interesting because there is one exception where investing comes before fully paying off debt. If your employer offers a retirement match, you take it. Employer matching is free money. It's an immediate return you cannot replicate anywhere else. According to Fidelity, the average employer match is around 4% to 6% of salary, yet millions of people never claim it. Think about that. If your employer matches 50% of what you contribute up to 6% of your income, that's an instant 50% return the moment you contribute. Even with high-interest debt, that kind of guaranteed return usually makes sense. The key is to contribute just enough to get the full match, no more, no less, then go right back to aggressively paying off debt. Step 4. Tax-advantaged accounts. IRA, HSA, 401k. Once your emergency fund is in place, high-interest debt is gone, and you're capturing your employer match, now you're ready to invest strategically. This is where taxes start to matter more than people realize. The next stop for most people should be an individual retirement account, or IRA. The reason is control and cost. IRAs typically offer better investment options and much lower fees than employer plans. Many 401k plans are packed with mutual funds charging 1% or more annually, while an IRA can give you access to index funds charging just 0.03% to 0.05%. For 2025, the IRS allows you to contribute up to $7,000 to an IRA or $8,000 if you're 50 or older. Whether you choose a traditional or Roth IRA comes down to taxes. If you're early in your career and in a lower tax bracket, Roth accounts often make sense because you're locking in low tax rates now. If you're a high earner, traditional accounts can reduce your tax bill today. If you're unsure, splitting contributions gives you flexibility later. That tax flexibility can be incredibly valuable in retirement. Now, if you have access to a health savings account, this is where things really separate people who build wealth from those who don't. HSAs are one of the most powerful and underused tools in personal finance. They offer a tax deduction when you contribute, tax-free growth while invested, and tax-free withdrawals for qualified medical expenses. No other account gives you all three. For 2025, HSA contribution limits are $4,300 for individual coverage and $8,550 for family coverage. According to Fidelity, the average retired couple will spend more than $300,000 on healthcare in retirement. That's one of the biggest expenses people underestimate. The smart strategy is to pay current medical costs out of pocket if you can, invest the HSA, and save your receipts. There's no deadline to reimburse yourself. You could pay for a doctor visit today and reimburse yourself 20 years from now, completely tax-free. Once your HSA is maxed out, then you go back and increase your 401k contributions beyond the match. In 2025, the contribution limit is $23,500 or $31,000 if you're over 50. At this point, you're sheltering a massive amount of money from taxes and letting it compound without constant drag. Step 5. Taxable investment accounts. Only after all of that does it finally make sense to focus on taxable investment accounts. This is where you get flexibility. You can invest without contribution limits, access your money whenever you want, and use it for early retirement, real estate, or big life goals. But taxable accounts come with taxes on dividends and gains, which slowly chip away at returns over time. Vanguard estimates that over 30 years, tax drag alone can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars compared to tax-advantaged investing. When you follow this order, something powerful happens. Money stops feeling chaotic. You stop reacting and start controlling the outcome. Instead of chasing the next big thing, you build a system that works whether markets are up or down. It's not flashy. It's not exciting. But it works. And doing the boring things first is how you stop being broke for good. If this helped you, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video so you can continue to gain financial freedom.